We live in uncertain times. The news makes grim listening. Add to that visual impairment and blindness and the difficulties that brings. And it's not surprising that we suffer from depression and insomnia from time to time and a general lacklustre feeling. But what about alternative therapies? Can they help? Well, joining me now is Sabrina Allison. She's Development Coordinator for Reiki Outreach. She's going to tell us a bit about the therapy and an initiative that she's involved with. Hello, Sabrina.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the show. First of all, just to set the scene for us, tell us a little bit about Reiki. What actually is it?
It's quite an unusual therapy in that you're actually channeling energy that comes from outside you. So you don't have to learn very much. It's not like reflexology that you have to do an anatomy course first. It comes through you, so it's not your energy, you're just directing it. But because it's universal energy, it knows where to go. And it basically kind of puts you back in tune with how you're meant to be. So it heals all the stresses that might keep you awake at night or that might cause you depression, or just you might be tired and it might feel nice. Generally, it's a very peaceful feeling, and you can feel kind of love or connectedness, or you might see colors. People experience it in different ways, kind of warm and tingly as well, but it's really relaxing. And the nice thing about Reiki is that you can do it for yourself rather than being dependent on other people to do it for you. And after you've learned it, you can do it for other people as well quite easily. And at the 3 levels, and at the second level, you can also use it for people who aren't with you. So you could use it for issues or people far away. So it's really flexible and just generally useful and has no side effects. It's pretty wonderful.
So is it a bit like a form of meditation?
Well, scientifically, apparently what it does is puts your brain waves and the person who's giving you the treatment into the same state, the alpha state that meditation gives you. But I, for one, am rubbish at meditation, and I can do Reiki, so I really appreciate a way of getting to that alpha state without even necessarily knowing it existed, without having to be good at meditation. So it has those benefits, yeah.
Where does it have its roots? Is it like an old therapy?
There's a man called Dr. Usui, who is Japanese. I think he's from Kyoto. And he found it through meditating in around 1920, 22. And then he used it a lot the next few years. He healed a lot of people in a big earthquake in Japan. And he started a clinic, and then he also taught about 2,000 people, one of whom started a clinic. He was a doctor, so he kind of used it for medical purposes, sort of. And there was a woman from Hawaii who was Japanese and had some horrible ailment that she couldn't get rid of. And someone told her about him, and it had such a big impact on her that she asked to learn it. And then she took it back to the States. And then World War II started, and nobody ever heard anything more about the history of it. But it spread all over through her. And then in the late 90s, some people went back to Japan and found out that the story she'd been telling, that he was a Christian missionary, was made up for American propaganda purposes, probably. But he basically was somebody who was very into exploring religious spirituality things. And in her story, he was wanting to know how Jesus did the laying on of hands thing. So he was checking out all the religions and how you might do this. And it was eventually through meditating on a mountain for 21 days that it hit him what it was, and he could activate the flow of the energy and share it with other people.
Now, people listening, before we look at some of the things that it actually is, it's been used to treat, you don't have to be a religious person to take part in it, do you?
No, not at all. It is the people who kept using it in Japan used it for spiritual self-development, whereas the people who used it through America used it for kind of physical healing. And in between that is what we're talking about, the kind of stress relief side. And what Reiki does is work at spiritual, mental, emotional, physical level, whatever you need most. So spirituality isn't about religion. Religion's maybe a way that you might connect with spirituality, or you might not, but spirituality is what's the essence of you and how you relate to the wider world. So that's the spiritual side of things. As far as belief, because this is a question, you have to kind of want to accept the healing, but you don't have to believe in it necessarily. It's quite techie in that way, but
you need to be open-minded about it.
That's it. Yes, you just have to say, "Yep, try it, see what happens." Fine. And the thing is, because it can heal things you don't even know you have a problem with, or you couldn't name, you might not notice what it is. You might feel more relaxed. You might not feel very much at all, but it'll be doing something, whereas other people might get more dramatic effects. But it's good for you.
Yeah, and it makes sense in a way, because we process all our information, whether we sense it with our fingers or how we sense our information. It's all processed in the brain. So you would think logically, if you can get the brain to work in a more, I don't know, a relaxed way and a holistic way, then you are going to feel better. Because I noticed when I was looking at this, it's been used to help with communication with autistic children. It's used for helping with sleep and anxiety, and especially with children who have been victims of sexual abuse. And it also can be used for just simple aches and pains, just general well-being. So it seems to be a kind of an all-encompassing therapy.
Yeah, it's basically putting you in touch with how you should be before all the clutter of the world started having an impact on you.
And the actual therapists themselves, a lot of them actually shut their eyes when they are helping patients, don't they?
Yes. I mean, you can have them open, but the thing about, you can do Reiki hands-on or you can do it hands-off. If you do it hands-off, your hands are kind of in the person's aura, so you're feeling energy kind of pulsating through that. And I've found that it's easier for the person giving the Reiki to feel the energy if they're out of the aura. And if your eyes are closed, you're going to tune into it a bit better. So I would think that blind people would be particularly tuned into the kind of sensations they'd be feeling, whereas somebody sighted might be looking around saying, "Oh, well, what clues are there here? What should I be doing?" So, and maybe if you use Braille as well, your physical senses are more tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
lots of possibilities there.
Now, you're involved in an outreach program at the moment. Tell us a little bit about that.
Several of my students from a few years ago have a care sector background, and I, in my day job, work with a lot of projects that are trying to make people's lives better in all sorts of different ways. And the group of us were talking about, wouldn't it be useful to take Reiki out to people who could get a lot of benefit from it and who might not find it on their own? And so the idea of Reiki outreach was born. So it's taken us a while to kind of set things in motion to get it started. But we're now looking for people to work with who would like to try Reiki and would like to learn it potentially as well.
All right. For anybody who would like some more details, what are your contacts?
You can email me at Reiki Outreach, REIKI, and then OUTREACH, at yahoo.co.uk. If you want to phone, my number is 07903 930 781. We don't have a website yet because we're that new.
Okay, Sabrina, well, it sounds really interesting, something that might be interesting having a look at to help our sense of well-being. But for the meantime, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us on Insight Radio.
Thank you.